U.S. Senator MarkWayne Mullin was on Meet the Press this morning to once again defend Pete Hegseth and the rest of Trump's band of fools over SignalGate. Only this time, not only did he straight up refuse to say anything to the family members of service members put at risk by SignalGate, aka me, he also used the opportunity to promote a money-making venture for himself. So this time, I want to not only go through what he said while on Meet the Press, I also want to begin sharing some of the tea about how MarkWayne Mullin is one of the most corrupt members of Congress. And don't worry, I have receipts for every single thing. Now, let's get into what Senator Mullin had to say on Meet the Press this morning. So first of all, just right off the bat, you see this comically large logo that MarkWayne has emblazoned on his vest? Like, so comically large that it makes literally no sense to have that big of a logo on your vest unless you're wanting to make damn sure that the television viewers that are watching from home as you go on national news programs can see that logo. Yeah, that's for Mullin Ranch. Mullin Ranch is an event venue. In fact, it is the ugliest wedding and corporate retreat venue you will ever see in your entire life. One could argue that Mullin Ranch, the event venue, is so ugly that it literally makes no sense that anyone would ever rent out this venue for their wedding or corporate retreat unless they were, I don't know, say some sort of entity that wanted to slip money into MarkWayne's pocket without it having to be noticed or reported to any sort of legal entity. I don't know, just spitballing, maybe like a lobbyist or a foreign entity. Sure seems like this fugly event venue might be a really convenient way to slip money into MarkWayne's pocket, similar to how Donald Trump has Trump Tower. Because I don't know about you, but this does not exactly scream classy wedding to me. And I say that as someone who's very open about my white trash redneck roots. Because call me crazy, but I just have a hard time believing that literally any bride in the existence of brides would want to have their wedding at a glorified pole barn that is decorated in the theme of oil. They definitely have a specific motif that they are going for. And I would argue that motif is, hey, lobbyists, if you want to give me money without anyone finding out, here's a place for your next corporate retreat. But we aren't just here to talk about the infomercial that MarkWayne was oh so subtly wearing on his lapel. Let's get into what he had to say in his guest appearance on Meet the Press.
There was no war plans that the Atlantic put out.
There were attack plans in the Signal chat. I know you guys think you're being super clever with your little nitpicking of attack plans versus war plans, but the point is that they put information in that Signal chat that was enough that had it fallen into the Houthis' hands would have gotten service members killed.
What they did is they had a very successful attack against the Houthis. It's a terrorist organization that had been harassing our Navy since 2023. They had attacked our Navy 174 times, and the Biden administration did nothing but sit on their hands.
All right, so this is the second time that MarkWayne has repeated this lie, including when I already debunked it. So I want to go a little more in depth on this and why this is so particularly offensive that he keeps repeating this lie. All of what's happening right now in Yemen, all of these strikes that Donald Trump has been ordering on the Houthis, that is actually a continuation of a military operation that was launched by the Biden administration. Since December of 2023, the United States has had service members stationed on naval ships in the Red Sea as a part of Operation Prosperity Guardian, helping ensure safe passage of ships which have previously been targeted by Houthi ships. So whenever MarkWayne repeatedly lies about whether the Biden administration was ignoring the Houthis, he's literally lying about the dangerous sacrifices that service members have been making in the Red Sea for more than 2 years now. In fact, just this past December, before Donald Trump took office, there was a friendly fire incident that happened in the Red Sea that involved a U.S. airplane with 2 U.S. service members inside being shot down. Luckily, both service members survived, but imagine serving your country, being away from your family for minimum of 6 months at a time. You get shot down in a friendly fire accident, nearly die, and then the U.S. Senator from the state of Oklahoma goes on national television to lie and claim that this never happened to you at all because you were never there at all, because he can't bear to admit that the previous administration was who initiated this operation. That'd be pretty offensive, right?
So what the conversation should be is, why didn't the Biden administration do something in the last 2 years instead of us being focused on this Signal chat?
We already know the answer. The answer is that you're lying. The Biden administration did not ignore it. They were doing things. And in fact, if we want to ask questions that aren't about the Signal chat, I would personally like to know why the Trump administration is continuing this campaign of airstrikes on the Houthis when even top naval officials have said straight up, these airstrikes are not effective. They have not served as a deterrent for the Houthis. So why are we not only risking U.S. service members' lives, but also getting innocent civilians in Yemen killed for airstrikes that we know are not effective? MarkWayne, it's almost as if they're beating their chest as a media exercise. That's what it sure seems like to me, MarkWayne.
This could have been going on any place in the world. There was no specific information except that a target was going to be hit.
The location was Yemen, MarkWayne. They literally named the group chat Houthi PC. MarkWayne, I know you're the least educated member of the Senate. Side note, he's the only member of the U.S. Senate that doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. Senators should know that the Houthis are specific to Yemen.
In fact, why are we focused so much on this? Why didn't we focus on the 13 service members that was killed in Afghanistan?
MarkWayne, those 13 service members were human beings. 13 human beings that I guarantee you could not name a single one of them without Googling it first or having your staff look up that information for you. So how dare you use them continuously as a political cudgel against their fellow service members who were put at risk?
Senator, what's your message to service members and their family who may feel like officials in this chain were careless with information that could have put their loved ones' lives at risk?
I think the numbers speak for themselves. We've had record numbers of new recruits coming into the service since President Trump has taken office.
In what world am I supposed to be comforted by the fact that new recruits are coming into the military when you all are risking getting my husband killed? Just because you can recruit new service members to take my husband's place in the military, that doesn't mean that you can recruit someone to take his place in my life. The fact that you won't even try to answer that question is disgusting.
The morale is through the roof because people are finally saying President Trump has taken the fight to our enemies rather than sitting back and apologizing and focus more on DEI than actual lethality, which is what our service members want to do.
What our service members want to do is survive while they are serving their country. What our service members want to do, what my husband, a service member, wants to do, is come home to me in a seat in an airplane and not in the cargo hold in a casket. That's what they want. So I know that, God, you guys love throwing out DEI as a boogeyman to distract from literally everything. But I'm not going to continue to allow you to get away with that in this regard. There is no buzzword that you can throw out that will make me forget the fact that you are excusing my husband's life being put at risk. The fact that you can't even muster up the, pretending to have a little bit of empathy for those service members or their families is disgusting. You were asked, can you please say something, anything, to the service members put at risk and the family members of those service members who are upset and afraid, and you immediately just pivoted right back to your talking points. Because you don't actually care about us, MarkWayne. You don't care about me. You don't care about my husband. You would be perfectly fine if 2 airmen in dress uniforms showed up on my front porch right now to inform me that my husband is no longer with us. You would be fine with that. In fact, I'm quite certain you would find a way to somehow weaponize his death in support of Donald Trump, because you are a monster. You are a snake, and you are only out for your own enrichment. And speaking of which, MarkWayne, if we go another day without me hearing back from you, my next video will be spilling the tea about all of your insider trading that you've been doing in the U.S. Congress, along with the receipts showing how you have earned tens of millions of dollars trading on the information that you are privy to because you were a member of Congress. Speak soon, MarkWayne, either to you or to all of the internet about why you are a slimeball that should lose your job.